Hey guys, it's Billy here from the Hero Kids, and I'm here with a deck profile of the first SJC deck list. I've been watching a channel called Magnitude Gaming, which has been like looking back at each SJC and seeing how the game changes in between events. And it was won by a guy called Umali, who played. The deck was like dubbed as chaos control, but it was this kind of pre-goat format deck. It was before that March list, and yeah, I'll link the channel for Action Games. They kind of go more into the surrounding significance of things surrounding the event and how each SJC and YCS were shaping up. I'm just deciding to do on top of this to just do a nice casual IRL deck profile of the SJC winner's deck, and I'm going to try and do the next one and hopefully try and keep up with individual SJC and then eventually YCS if we can get this far, just to show off the cards, I guess, if people want to play this format. I don't know, but yeah, I will link the original video about the event, and I'll just get straight into the profile. Okay, so we'll jump into the deck profile now. One small thing to say before jumping into it is I would consider making this max rarity, but then I was like, there's a lot of cards I'd have to take from other decks and just mix everything around and unsleeving stuff, and I didn't think it was worth doing, but it also just sets an example that I don't want to max rarity anything for like SJC videos, just because it kind of, a lot of those SJC winning decks have a lot of expensive cards in max rarity now. So anyway, I'll jump straight into the profile. So to start things off, the deck plays one BLS. I don't think this card needs to be explained. It can just solo some games. Then one thing which I think we look at this with fresh eyes now, we can acknowledge that like tribute summons aren't very good in even like a year later in GOAT format. Tribute summons aren't very good, but I think if you look at this from the perspective of somebody in 2004, with theories just starting essentially in the game, I can see the whole concept of this tribute summon monster is just objectively better than the other monsters in my deck, so I'm going to play them. So yeah, I feel like a lot of the cards here don't need to be explained because they're seen in GOAT. So anyway, as for like the deck's beat sticks, plays one Kaiku, one Berserk Gorilla, shout out to the Glenna, one Breaker, a Tribe, a Blade Knight, a Reflector Bounder, which I guess people might not know, but it's basically if it's attacked, at the end of damage step it dies, and then it inflicts damage to your opponent equal to the monsters that attacks. So if they have a Reflect Bounder, you can like crash into it with a Blade Knight. They'll take 100, their Blade Knight will die, and then the Reflect Bounder will burn them for 16, but it'll kill the Reflect Bounder. So I guess in things like situations like BLS, attacking into it, they'd be taking 3000, so it's just like that. But yeah. And then the deck also plays 2 DD Warrior Lady, which I think is weird looking at it, because every format that plays DD Warrior Lady, the card's always been at 1, or like with Necros, you played 1 as a searchable Jin out. But yeah, a lot of your beat sticks bar Tribe and Berserk Gorilla are light and dark for the BLS. I find it weird that it was like that this deck is dubbed like Chaos Control, even though it just plays 1 BLS, but a lot of the monsters are based around light and dark for that. So I guess I'll just say like Magician of Fate doesn't really need to be explained. Yeah, there's a lot of power spells in this format. Then the deck plays 1 Serpent. There's no Graceful, but I guess this card comes up, and there's no Stangan to search it on as well, but you can send it off Painful Choice. It becomes a free card. The deck plays a discard trap, which I'll get back into later, but also just there's some combinations with Metamorphosis and creature swap. So it was just a good floating card as well, as a body. Then to round up the monsters, there's probably two monsters that people don't really know. One is Fiber Jar and one is Hypnocorn. Fiber Jar is basically resets the game. When it's attacked, both players shuffle back their hands, fields, and graves back to the deck, and then they both draw 5. So if it's attacked into on your opponent's turn, you become the next turn player. You get the next draw phase. So you basically start the new game with 6 cards. On top of that, this deck has a lot of beat sticks, so if you play it aggressively, you can get some damage in early, and then recuperate the resources that you lost playing aggressively at the start of the game, and now you just have a life point lead. And then as for scientists, you pay 1,000 to summon any level 6 or lower fusion monster, and it can attack your opponents directly, and it goes back to the fusion deck in the end phase, but it allows you to summon things like Thousand Eyes, suck up a monster. It gives you tribute fodder, and also if you're making game pushes, you can summon cards like Dark Bolter, Dark Blade to banish your opponent's graveyard. What else is there? Things like Fiend Skull, Ryu Senshi, and Dark Bolter let you kind of try and push your opponent. Well, not really Dark Bolter, but I guess if you're playing around Fiber Jar. But yeah, I was like, you can just summon them all and have like BLS or something to kill them. So for the spells, there's no Trinity in this format. It is literally just Pot of Greed. So Pot of Greed. I guess on the Pot of Greed Trinity, you could maybe try and argue that the other hand control cards are part of this Trinity, but are they really that? Yeah. Anyway, both cards are insane. Confiscation is you look at your opponent's hand by paying 1,000 life points and discard one, and since Forceful Sentry is the same, but there's no cost, and it shuffles the card back to deck instead. So both these cards let you see your opponent's hand, and then you have perfect knowledge on what your opponent has in hand, while also taking like any resource from their hand. It's not like Trapdoor Shoot where you have to hit a monster. So this can, discard your opponent's Pot of Greed if you want to. So then the deck plays 2 Scapegoat. Like I said, it works like Serpent. It works to block attacks, and then used for meta or creature swap. So deck plays 1 meta. I think this is another fallback of like old Yu-Gi-Oh theory. I feel like meta nowadays with like any chaos deck or just goat control in general, just the concept of playing meta as a way to cheat out Thousand Eyes, and also just making the other options like any of the 5s, 6s, 8s, etc. is pretty strong. So then the deck plays Creature Swap and Snatch Deal. Like I said, like Creature Swap works with Scapegoat and Serpent, really. Yeah, Snatch Deal is just a good monster taker. Then I guess we can also change a heart into there, which I think everyone kind of knows this card, but again, it's not a goat card because it's banned, but you just take your opponent's monster till the end phase. It's not like Brain Control where it has to be face up, and you don't have to pay a cost. It's not like Mind Control because it can attack. It is literally just take your opponent's monster for the turn, so pretty good card. Then the deck plays Mirage of Nightmare, which I think when you mention Mirage of Nightmare, it's pretty rude not to mention emergency provisions with it. So basically what this does is that so during your opponent's standby phase, you draw until you have 4 cards in hand, but then when it gets to your standby phase, you have to discard your hand, right? So what you can do is in your opponent's turn, draw 4 off it, and then when it comes to your turn, you can emergency provisions away the Mirage of Nightmare, and that way you don't have to discard your hand. So this is like, I guess, one of those kind of famous 2-card combos. Jaden did it in GX, and yeah, I guess for people who don't know, emergency provisions is just you can send any number of spell and trap cards on your field to grave to gain 1,000 for each one. So this lets you send Mirage to grave. I guess in mentioning the provisions, you can also MST it. I don't think MSD needs any further explanation. Then the deck plays 1 Heavy Storm. Yeah, again, I think a lot of the cards that you see in GOAT format don't really need to be explained. So the deck plays 1 Nobleman. I guess foot monsters weren't as prevalent as later with GOAT control, but the deck sided the second one. Obviously, you're going to have different matchups. Things like Gravekeepers would probably be more in tune to play the second one. While this deck is a lot more beat sticky. Then the deck just mains the 1 Book of Moon. It's sided the second one, but yeah, just, you know, really nice general disruption. I think it's another card that's gained more respect throughout later years. Then as well in the main deck, it just plays 1 Prem. I don't really know if this card needs to be explained. It's another GOAT card. 1 Swords. I think this is another one of those cards that, like, people used to think was really good, but with modern day Yu-Gi-Oh, we've just it's like a wasted spot almost, unless you're playing something slightly more cheesy. But again, he played it. Then to round up the spells, Painful Choice. I've always said it's the best like non-searchable, non-engine card in the game. It's just insane. You basically just reveal 5 cards from your deck to your opponent, show them to them, and then they pick one of the 5 cards and they add it to your hand, but then the other 4 cards all get sent from deck to grave. So you can basically pick all your light and dark beat sticks, and you get to have like turn 1 chaos set up. You get to get serpent out of your deck. You get to like put your opponent in really awkward situations by selecting 5 power cards, you know, things like that. But Painful Choice kind of has become more absurd in later years, but I guess it's a lot more bearable here. And now for the traps. The deck played 5 traps. It played 1 Torrential Tribute, 1 Raigeki Break, 1 Bottomless, Ring, and Called Haunted. So I'm pretty sure Mirror Force is banned at this time, so that's why you're not seeing it. But yeah, this is the trap lineup for the deck. The deck was 40 cards. Like I said, it won the event. I'm pretty sure if you watched the Magnitude Gaming video to explain like the history of the event more, I think it was 309 players at the event. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this one up, and please let me know if you want to see what the deck profile, the IRL deck profile of the second SJC was. So yeah, that is Billy from the Hero Kids with this SJC 1 deck list. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.